Operations Committee together for July 11th, 2022. We'll do the prayer and then the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Wandel. Please stand. Oh, Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight with a humble heart, asking for your instructions at all times, Father, so that we can prosper. Let us follow when you lead, and let us be willing to receive your blessings, Father, whenever you're ready to bestow them on us. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next is the approval of agenda. Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to add item number 8 under, from the Law Director, I guess 8A, interlocal agreement with the City of Norris for bike racks, and then 8B, the Sheriff Barker's accreditation program. And that's all I've got.
Okay. Commissioner Wandel.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to add under 5A, if I could, Animal Shelter Advisory Committee.
Okay. All right. Any other additions? All in favor is amended.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, we'll have appearance of citizens. Anybody that wants to come up front for anything that's not on the agenda. You have to come up front.
Is the report on the status going to be in the agenda item that Commissioner Wandel just put in?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so, not unless you have.
Basically, we're just looking for an update on where the investigation
Name and
stands.
address, please.
I'm sorry, I'm still Marcia Illingworth, Claxton, Edgewood Heights Lane. And we would respectfully request an update on the status of the investigations involving the animal shelter issue.
Thank you so much. I have one of the girls in my office working with HR on this, and what they told me on Friday is they're about done. It's a pretty large report. It'll be sent to the mayor as soon as she's completed it, and I've told her to dedicate herself only to that task and let's get it knocked out. But I don't know a whole lot about it other than what she just briefly told me. They've taken 10 sworn statements in front of a court reporter, got a lot of exhibits, state law, things of that, but that's where we're at. Should be just a few days.
Thank you.
Is that enough?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Nick? Oh, I'm sorry.
Beverly K., 928 West Outer Drive, Oak Ridge. And regarding that again, we wanted to know about, will that include update about the state license and the euthanization tech license, and also the inquiries that we would have about Facebook access again, and being able to not only be limited to see Facebook, like and comment on that, and the use of Facebook to advertise the animals. So that is also a concern that we'd like to include. If
We've got all those, ma'am.
okay, all right,
Kim,
thank
I'm sorry.
you. I just wanted to be
She
clear about
asked
that.
about
Thank you.
the euthanasia license, shelter license, the state law claims, and what was your last thing? But Facebook access. You've got those all included in your review. We don't get involved in the criminal investigation side of it. We defer to the state officials on that, so you won't see much on that, but I'm sure they're trying to remedy that situation.
Okay, because we keep getting that same response. We're just wondering how we can get that corrected.
We do know, we had, I don't know, 6 weeks ago, one of the state people called us and told us they'd gotten complaints on it, so I assume they're reviewing that matter.
On the Facebook as well, is it include the
No, I don't think they have any jurisdiction over Facebook.
I'm not sure you heard her. There are several people who cannot access.
Yes, I understand that. We've got a recommendation in the report, okay, on that issue.
Thank you so much.
It's covered, I promise you.
Thank you.
All right, next is Judge Don Layton.
Thank you. Don Layton, General Session Judge. I came tonight for a reason to ask this committee to forward to either budget or to the commission a request to increase the General Session Judge office furniture allowance by $10,000. You say, why is that? Well, we have 2 new judges. I see Judge-elect Bowling here. They will be needing new office furniture. The furniture that I've used in my courtroom or in my office is personal furniture for 24 years. I don't know whether they will want to buy that or not, but I felt it appropriate to have that money in the budget so when they come in on September the 1st, they won't be delayed by having to go through the funding process. I'm certain they'll be good stewards of that money. So I wanted to ask this committee to forward to other committees so there would be, obviously, with all respect to Judge Blunt, I didn't plan on buying a new furniture for anybody. So she's allowed me the opportunity to hopefully see this as it's meant to be, to create the fund necessary so they can come in on September the 1st, and if they need to order something, they don't have to wait 60, 90 days to go through the process to increase the budget, whatever, in that regard. So I'm requesting that you recommend to either the full commission or to the budget committee that the general session budget be increased by $10,000. That doesn't mean that it has to be spent. I don't know what the new judges will need. I do know that the furnishings, some are personal furnishings in Oak Ridge and here, and I wanted to leave them a revenue stream in which they could get to immediately without going through the time process of doing that. So that's why I'm here. Now, again, I haven't had an opportunity to talk to Judge Bowling or either Judge Tuck, and I don't know whether they need anything. But if they did need it, the process, as you know, can take 30 to 60 days. And 2 new judges coming on September the 1st, I'm certain they will have a multitude of responsibilities, and that I felt like if I generated this pot of money, that it was at least ready there, and if it were needed, that I could remove some of that pressure and some of that burden. So that's my motive. Everybody says, Layton's always got a motive. Well, that's my motive. My motive is to make certain that there are adequate resources there. And as I said, I didn't obviously plan on that, but that's why I'm here. And I would, if Judge-elect Bowling has any objections to it or any comments she wants to add, that's fine. I have no agenda other than to, when they come in on the 1st of September, if they need a computer, I don't do computers. I'm old school, obviously. Obviously, I'm a dinosaur. But they may work with computers a lot. I don't have a computer to give Judge-elect Bowling. I have an old desk that I've had for 25 years that's falling apart, and I doubt that she would want to use that. She may have her own office equipment, I don't know. But I wanted to create a revenue source to avoid anywhere from 30 to 60 days delay, compounded with the other problems we're having in shipment of items. So in that regard, so that's my request, that's my desire, that's my motive for this. They may never spend a penny of it, they may not need it, but I do want to give them adequate startup money to do what they do need to do, whether it's furnishings or computers or things that we don't presently have that they may need, and I think it's appropriate. And I would ask for your recommendation to the full commission, who I assume will probably recommend it to budget. I haven't participated this much in this process because generally speaking, the general session budget is small, and we don't have need for this. Like I said, we've never gone back and asked for a big amount. I don't know if $10,000 is way too much or too little, but I do know that that's a good startup sum for a new desk or office or computers. And I have no doubt that Judge-elect Bowling and Judge-elect Tuck will be good stewards, and they won't be using any more of it than they need to carry out their obligations and responsibilities. Anyone have any questions?
Commissioner McCamey?
You're asking for 5,000
Session 1.
Yeah, I think
and session
that
2.
someone told me they've been breaking the budget out now, Division 1 and 2. That would be fine with me. However, the current budget the July 1st budget was adopted. If it's broken out between 1 and 2, then I would propose that it be in equal amounts. I haven't looked at the July 1 budget.
Okay,
Not
Mr.
that I
Chairman.
don't care about the budget, but I'm certain that after August 31st, my concern about the budget will be less than it's been in the past.
I'll make a motion that we forward this to the August Budget Committee. They've already met for July, and forward it to the August Budget Committee for them to make a recommendation to the full commission in August.
A motion and second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you,
Mr.
Judge.
Chairman, I would like to ask Judge-elect Bowling and Judge-elect Tuck to be present at the Budget Committee meeting if they can, or to contact the commissioner that's on the Budget Committee and let them know how they feel about it.
Okay. She gives us an affirmative signal.
Come by my office and I'll give you the catalog. It's got our discount in it. You don't have to use it though. You're welcome to it.
Okay, next is the Commissioner Wandel, Advisory Committee.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I think the advisory committee has been chosen, if I'm not mistaken, by the, I can't ever remember that committee's name, nominated committee. So what I'd like to do, Mr. Chairman, is see if we can pick a date to have our first meeting.
Sure.
Jay, is it ready to roll?
I was just gonna comment on that, sir. The resolution, creating that board, probably got about 5 more hours in it. I thought I'd get it knocked out last night, but I just ran out of steam. But hopefully tomorrow I'll get it knocked out and it'll be in the county commission agenda. And I assume we can take it up under old business. And that'll give you a little bit more insight onto the role and the composition. And you'll have something kind of guide you at the first meeting.
Thank you, Jay. Mr. Chairman, I'll just wait to the regular meeting, and then we'll pick a date there. And I'll just encourage those that are on the committee to think about some dates that might look good for everyone, so we can kind of get a rough idea of when to have it. And we'll pick a date hopefully Monday after we pass the resolution.
Yeah, that first meeting, you're gonna have to select a chair, vice chair, and I'm hoping I can convince Annette to help you with the minutes, but she's probably shooting.
She's thinking, great, another meeting.
But anyway, that's some of the tasks that we'll have to do the first meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Wandel, Clinton High School Lady Dragon softball field.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to bring, I'm sure some of the fellow commissioners here have heard about the Clinton High School softball field. It's been going on for quite some time. It's being constructed right on the corner of the Clinton High School field. It was under construction and it got delayed. There was some legal action, I guess, taken. We funded this quite some time ago, I think, at the request of the school board, Dr. Parrott, and we certainly were expecting the field to be up and running this year for the young ladies. They seem to be the ones held up on this, and it's not fair to them. They're just wanting to go play ball on the field, and I just don't know what to do about it. So I'm asking for everyone's advice and help on how we can bring that thing forward. I understand it's legal action, but you know, I find it hard to believe that county property we own, we cannot build a field on it. You know, I don't know if the individual would rather have us having folks out there doing calisthenics at 5 o'clock in the morning, and maybe they would rather see that than see some young ladies playing softball. I don't know, but I just feel like they put up the trees. I feel like there's a barrier in place now, and I don't know. I just want to get some advice on how we can move forward with getting the field.
I can talk briefly about it. It is in litigation. Do you mind if I don't stand up?
Oh,
that's fine.
and Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, Jay's got a hip issue. I'll just say that.
You need
Yeah.
that, have you got one of those microphones?
Does this work? We thought it was going to be simple that we could work out at first. The confusion started, I think, a year and a half or so ago when Dr. Parrott presented the plan to the individual next door. And when the architects started looking at it, they realized that the batter's eye was directly in the sun, and you can't do that. It was pointing towards the west. And when you create a baseball or softball field, especially with late afternoon games, you can't have the batter's eye looking directly into the sun, so it had to be flipped. And that meant the concession stand, the field house, had to be flipped as well. Well, that posed some problems, and then the neighbor didn't like the height of the lights. And I thought we could still resolve it, but they went directly to litigation before we could sit down and smooth it out. I will tell you, Dr. Parrott, there's been some misstatements. He did go to the city of Clinton. He filed the application over there for them to do the site review, and they basically punted on it and said it was county property, and they were not going to enforce their zoning resolution. You remember the Glen Alpine case we had, where that issue was brought up before. But Taylor Knight is representing the school system, and I think Mr. Stewart is representing the plaintiff. But it's in litigation, and I'd like to think we could get it resolved pretty quick.
Well,
That's where
actually,
it's at.
It came to planning commission for the county, then it was sent back
Yes.
to the city for approval.
Are they meeting on it tonight over there?
Yeah, they're up meeting over there, sir.
Mr. Chairman, if could, this is, if you'll introduce yourself, your address.
Quinn Bender, 390 Harold Lane, Powell, Tennessee. We went before the Anderson County Planning Commission. They did a courtesy review, but they said it was not in their jurisdiction either. So I don't understand how the same land, the city says it's not our jurisdiction, yet Anderson County says it's not our jurisdiction. The only ones we're hurting are the girls that are gonna play there.
And we all agree, I'd like to get those dugouts up myself.
But that question's never been answered, and kind of skipped over that it's on the city. But yet, it went before Anderson County Planning Commission.
And we had a similar situation with Glen Alpine.
Right.
And that's what the law director was explaining, and hopefully here pretty soon we'll get things worked out. I think Dr. Parrott was very encouraging when I met
Yes.
with him at Finance Committee about maybe getting something done.
We're hoping we can get some good news for you, sir, shortly. What the issue is Joe Barrett, the advisor to the Planning Commission, he didn't want to impose or define Clinton zoning restrictions such as setbacks and that, because he felt as though we didn't have jurisdiction to do that. But as it stands right now, I think when you look at the law, we can go in there, build it, but I have advocated to get the inspections, get the site plan, and get the building permits. We don't want to skirt the law as far as that's concerned, but we're going to move forward on this, and hopefully people sit down at a table with reasonable minds and work this out as soon as possible. We'd like to get that field up and running as soon as we possibly can. The season starts in the fall, so that's our goal.
Yeah, the field was supposed to be done this year.
Yes, sir, I understand. This was, when this was instigated, we already had the lights up.
Yep.
And we were, moving forward on it. Then all of a sudden, these issues popped up. We wanted to resolve them. The next thing we know, we got a lawsuit.
Right. Yeah, I've been fully informed of everything that's been going on.
Thank you.
It's just, there's gotta be some way we can get the parties into a room and mediate it or something, or
I agree with you.
if they're voting on it tonight, and if the city punts again, then what's the county's response?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that Anderson County Commission supports the construction of the softball field. I'm not wanting to go around any laws or any zoning, but I think it would be helpful for the cause to have a motion from this body that fully supports the construction of the Lady Dragon softball field, and hopefully the city of Clinton and everyone else can take note of. We're certainly behind it, and we'll see where it goes from tonight. But I'll make a motion to pass to full commission Monday night, and then forward it on to the city of Clinton and the school board and all the parties involved, that we support this construction of the field and seeing it done quickly as possible.
Would you like a resolution, sir?
Yeah, a resolution, yeah, thank
We
you.
got a motion by Commissioner Wandel, seconded by Commissioner McCamey. Any other discussion?
I've got one question, maybe Jay can answer, but the city of Clinton said they don't have any jurisdiction. It's not in their jurisdiction. The county planning commission says it's not in their jurisdiction. Who issued the stop work order?
City of Clinton did, but they released it.
But then in the lawsuit, they
Put an injunction.
They did an injunction for stop work order, and the school system did not contest it. They agreed to the stop work order.
Do you know, do you have a date when that's going to be heard, or?
No, they've hired Taylor and Knight, and you understand our issues with them right now.
Yeah. Okay, that's all.
When I spoke with Dr. Parrott, he was very.
Yes.
Things could be worked out. And I think really, from what I understand, is the lighting issue with the shutters and things they have on there has been taken care of.
The shutters weren't on the night they did the check.
Yeah.
And I think that had some concern with the neighbor. And they weren't focused, and they didn't have the shutters on. When that's applied, I think he'll see a different result. And honestly, I can't speak for the plaintiff in this case, but I think he'll be happy not having the home plate concession stand that close to his yard. It'll be turned around the other way, where the batter's eye will be looking to the east instead of the west.
Now, Jay, don't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay.
If we flipped it around, and I understand all the challenges with the sun, and I agree
Yes,
with
sir.
all that, but if we flipped it around, so would the individual want the parking lot next to his house? Is that what he's wanting?
I think he just doesn't want anything next to his house. He wants
Oh,
a setback.
well, I mean, if we flipped the field, I would imagine the parking lot would have to be over on that side. We couldn't
No.
have the field, there's not enough room to put the field.
I think they want to keep the field at the parking lot at the same location, sir. Just the field.
But if we flip it, I think we should move the parking lot to that side and put the field closer to the school. It'd be more convenient for the kids to be closer to the school than closer to the house.
I understand.
If we have to flip it. That'd be my recommendation, is
Okay.
put the parking lot next to the house where the trees are.
I agree.
Where you're thinking the parking lot's gonna be is actually gonna be a marching band practice field. So marching band is also affected by this.
Well, hopefully it'll get worked out.
Yeah, we're hoping.
Mr. Chairman,
This
and I'll
body
vote.
is in full support, I can tell you that.
Was you done?
Yeah.
Mr. Bender, we have a young lady here who's on the team.
Yep.
Would you like to get up and introduce yourself and tell us what you think, if you don't
So,
mind?
I'm Allison Bender, and I'm a junior going into Clinton High School, and I am very upset about our field, just because I'm so passionate about it. And
You're good, babe. You're fine. You're good.
I just really want to play on this field. Just to have one game is all I ask. It's just a field we can call our own. And it's just really upsetting about all the lawsuits and all the stuff that's going on that we're affected by it. So, thank you.
Hey, what you did, thank you. That's what maybe some of us need to hear, okay? We'll do all we can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimous. Okay, next, Anderson County Elections 2022 redistricting maps requested by Commissioner Wandel.
Mr. Chairman, I missed the last meeting for the redistricting that was held by the operations, and the minutes I saw prior, I don't know if they've changed, but I guess what I'm trying to understand is what happened. The meetings that I attended, and many of us attended, seemed to be different map than what the end result map was. It's also my understanding, talking to State Representative Reagan some time ago, that the Anderson County Elections Board has the authority to change those maps.
Just the precinct.
Okay, just the precincts. Does the state have the authority to change those maps?
I think they have to go with what we send them as long as it complies with the law. They usually let us know before they make any adjustments on that.
So, I mean, the reason I'm asking all these questions is, I mean, at best, we are in the state of confusion in some of our districts. I know Commissioner Meade, my district, District 1, I've called folks, they don't know where to go to vote. They get cards. One had a card for District 7, shows on the map they're in District 1. The precinct was changed right at the end. They met the state law, I guess, to get it in there when they needed to, but so much moving parts, and I've got, in District 1 now, we've got Clinton District, and I didn't know that district was gonna be in District 1, and the people there are very upset, and when they call, the election office tells them that the commissioner approved it, and that's the part I don't like. I didn't approve moving any lines other than me and Commissioner Anderson agreed if we can move some of 3 back into his District 3, I was all in favor of that. That's what the people
Yeah,
wanted.
that's what we had discussion.
Right, and then we end up not even doing that, and I get added District 2 into District 1, and I had no say-so in that. And when I voted at this table in the regular meeting to approve that, the map I was approving was the map we originally talked about, which did not include District 2. So that's my issue, and I'm just trying to bring it to light so folks understand this isn't something that any of us voted on, in my opinion, in terms of changing it up for these districts and causing all the issues for people to go vote now. Am I correct in my statements? I mean,
Yeah, we had several people from District 3 that came, and I thought that we had everything worked out, actually.
so did the maps change after the meeting that I missed? Or did the churn change during that meeting? Or did it change after we turned the maps in to the,
Well, I think one of the big things is, and this was something I asked every time, is we need a map that's got streets on it and roads instead of just blocks, or voting blocks or census blocks. Because what happens is when you give that census block, and as you well know, some of those census blocks have zeros in them, okay? So to try to get that number where it needs to be, there actually may be 24 people that vote where it's showing 0. So that's why, you know, and we talked about this in Charter Commission, that whoever does this next time, the map's gonna have the roads and the streets, so you can draw a line, and you can't say, well,
That new map I sent out,
yeah,
you
exactly.
can, it's 32-bit, you can enlarge it, you can see the streets, you can see the streams, the rivers, shopping centers, churches, things like that on. It's much better than the one we first got back from the state.
And, you know, we didn't know anything about the new precinct whatsoever, that was never mentioned. Because everybody here was on that committee, and I don't think anybody ever heard that mentioned, so.
well, you know, oh, sorry, Commissioner
Oh,
Meade.
no, I'm just getting in line.
Yeah.
Well, I'll finish up, but, Mr. Chairman, you know, like all of us, when you go to, you know, register again or pick up your packet to run for office again, you know, I picked up my packet, and this comes from the Anderson County Elections Office. You fill out your forms, and you read the packet, and the packet has a list of precincts and their locations. When I'm running for office and I'm given a packet, I'm assuming this is given to me, this is the locations of the voting precincts. Makes it very difficult when I'm trying to campaign, budget my dollars to campaign, spend my time while working and being a full, you know, commissioner and being a father, trying to campaign to an area that's not even on the list. And what really bothers me is there seems to be no accountability whatsoever to the Anderson County Elections Board. They just kind of do what they want. And what bothers me even more is I can understand them taking a little shot at commission or whatever, but what bothers me the most is they do not give the voters the opportunity to participate in these decisions. They have zero idea that a precinct's being moved until after the fact, just like us. We're supposed to have a better idea, but we don't. So I'm just really perplexed, upset. Apparently, my new district on District 1 is in behind Valley Quick Pack, up Sinking Springs, across Irwin Mill, down Mountain Road. That kind of block was cut out and put into District 1. I'm sorry to the people that were put in District 1 without having any say-so. I'll certainly represent them to the best of my ability if they so give me that chance, and if they may say they want something different, and that's fine. But it's just concerning. It seems like if you have 10 years to plan, you could do this a lot more effectively, you know? And I just can't get my arms around why things are so slow to move, and you know, I think there needs to be something done. I don't know if it needs to be done at the state level, or we as a body, Jay, if we have any authority to make it to where when elections come around, we clearly have some time to be given back and forth discussions if there's going to be a new precinct. I had one precinct added and one precinct moved in District 1, all within 40 days of the election. Unheard of. And then you had to mail all of those out to the people to say, oh, here's your new card. And people are going, what's this? And then you go vote. Guess what? You don't need your card. So why you print them?
Oh, I understand.
I mean, I
A
just
lot of
don't-
people just see it as their voting registration card. They don't realize it's the assigned precinct also.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Anyway, I just wanted to be clear, and for anyone out there, I mean, please reach out to me on Facebook. My number is 865-388-0921. Call me if you wish. Email me, text me. Happy to meet with you and discuss it. I'm just going to make the best out of the situation I can, and I'll be quiet. I know there's-
One of the things that we were tasked to do is get this done and get it to the state quick, and we
Yes,
did.
yes, sir.
You know, we were one of the early ones, we got it done, we
Well, the
met.
state was the one that was late. Remember, they didn't get our numbers to us till late June.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it was just right before early voting, because when Mark Stevens was here on that, he said, actually, we just got it today. And I said, well, I think early voting started the week after. So I didn't give any time for interaction, and I kept checking with Annette almost every week, and she hadn't heard anything. She kept checking with Billy and Johnny, and, you know, it was the state that got it back so late to us. I mean, we did our job, and we did it early.
Am I correct? I mean, you're the chairman. Was the map changed after we voted on it?
It sure didn't seem like it's what we had voted on.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to know.
Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We passed what we called the 930 plan,
Right.
so we could get it on, so we could finalize it and vote on it in October. What we passed was revised by the state, and I'm guessing sent to the election commission, but the election commission did not communicate the changes with us. So I feel like we had kind of tried to act, it seemed like the instructions at the time were, the administrator of elections really wanted us to clean up the city limits, kind of get
Correct.
Oak Ridgers be represented by Oak Ridge, by Clinton commissioners. And then with I've talked to some of the same people you've talked to. There's people that can look across Charles Severs Boulevard at the Glen Alpine voting precinct, which is where they've always voted, but now they're in District 1, and none of us would have been on board with that at the time, so it just doesn't make sense. But what's even more aggravating, they never got the card in the mail. I don't know if that's the mailman's fault or whose, but I've talked to a lot of people that never got the updated card. They didn't know their precinct had been moved until, I know there's one instance, someone who lives on Wolf Valley in District 1 went to Fairview to vote and was told, you need to go to Claxton. Then they went to Claxton and was told, no, you need to go to the Porch Manor. I'm sure some people threw their hands up at some point on election day and didn't vote. And when you have a race that's decided by 14 votes, or even a tied race like we had 10 or 12 years ago, you know, that it matters when 15 or 20 people don't vote because they don't know where to vote. So that's all. Thank you.
Oh, it's very important for everybody to get out and vote, because there were so many close elections in primary. Commissioner Meade.
Okay, well, one of the things that you have to understand about how the districts are done, it's not by voters, it's by census numbers. Okay, the law doesn't say the districts has to have the same number of voters. It says they have to have the same number of people based upon the latest census. Okay, and there were some changes made to my district along with, at the border between District 6, between my District 6 and District 7, District 8. And I understand what happened, but it was changed after the plan was approved by a commission that didn't make these same changes. What they ended up with was all legal as far as meeting the plus or minus 5% across all the 8 districts. Okay, so the end up with something that was lawful, but I still think it was uncalled for the way it was made a surprise. It was after the primary that I found out that there were major changes to my district. Okay, and I'll give you an example. Because they moved part of what was District 7 and 8 back out into the county and brought 7 and 8 into the city limits. That means they had, to order to get this equalization of census numbers, they had to move some people from my district into 7, some people in my district into 8. Okay? But in order to make that change, and what they did is there were about roughly 200 single and double family homes right along Lafayette and Purdue, and there's a little peninsula there, it was part of my district, that had several, most everybody there were voters. Okay, they were moved out of my district, and it was replaced with the property just east of the mall that includes important places like the credit union and all the stores. I got Firehouse Sub now is in my district, okay? And then the church next door and all the way to Lafayette. You know how many homes there are in the area they gave me? Not one, not a single family or double family home is there. But I did pick up the Manhattan Apartments that has lots of census numbers, but I did a little study. One, there's not very many people there that are eligible to vote. There's not many people there that are registered to vote. Of the ones that are registered to vote, I talked to a bunch of them. They said, well, when I got my driver's license, they just handed me this, so I signed it. They have never voted, according to the records that I have available from this. And so I felt kind of bad about that exchange because I lost people that had been voting for me for a number of elections and had signs in their yards and stuff. Now all of a sudden they were out of my district. And it was replaced with areas that had literally no voters. Okay, then up along with District 8, I had an area that went from like Grove Center, there's a hilltop, there's a road that goes all the way up to the Children's Museum, and everything west of that was my district. Hundreds of single-family homes in that area. Those were all moved into District 7. And in return, I got the early voting building, I got the high school, I got the parking lots, I got the athletic fields, I got the Chamber of Commerce, and I got one street that has 9 houses on it. So I lost hundreds of homes one place and got 9 homes in replacing it. In another place, I lost hundreds of homes, and in a place, I got an apartment building that has hardly any voters. So if you're looking at trying to balance voters, that's not what they were doing. They were balancing census numbers. So I understand why they had to make some of those moves. And had they talked with me, I probably would have said, yeah, I see what you got to do, and I'd agreed with it. But I and the other commissioner, Denenberg, in District 6, we both asked at the meeting when that was voted on, was District 6 still left unchanged? And we were told, yes, District 6 is unchanged, okay? And that's what we voted on. And then some pretty significant changes were made in those districts. Now, I think we ended up something we can all live with. It meets all the requirements of the law. But you just have to live with the fact that we're balancing census numbers. We're not balancing number of voters. And the changes they made dramatically changed the distribution of voters in the districts amongst the districts. And so, I'm just trying to make it clarified. And when I found out that it had all been changed, I'd been campaigning in areas that were no longer part of my district. If you've ever gone door to door and handed out leaflets and talked to people, house after house, and you got to kind of shut it off about 8:30 or 8:45, depending when the sun goes down. when you're doing that kind of stuff, and all of a sudden you find out areas that you've been campaigning hard in and handing out leaflets and ask for their support and putting a sign in your yard, all of a sudden they're not even in your district because you just didn't know. It really seems like that could have been communicated better. And the other thing that I'm really concerned about is that it wasn't communicated very well. Because all of a sudden, literally, I went into the commission office and I looked at a map that had just come in and had been, like she should, Annette put it up on the board for us all to see, and I looked at it and I said, man, that doesn't look like what we voted on. There was one section that was actually, you could not tell where part of my boundary was, because it just stopped here and then it started again over here, another part on the map, and there was nothing in between. And so I actually had to contact a guy in Knoxville who is a key guy for doing the census for this whole part of the state. And he sent me a map that showed me where my boundaries actually were, and I was kind of surprised to find out what the truth was. But you know, what can we do? It's a system we got to work with. I think the people that made the changes probably had the authority to do it. They just did not communicate it very, very clearly. And there was some other stuff that went on over in 1 and 2, and there was a mountain range they wanted to split and they couldn't. And there was some other things happening, and I can't give you any detail on that. But the part for me, I looked at in great, great detail. And now I know where the boundaries are. I can live with that, okay? But it just should have been communicated better, and I'm going to shut up. Thanks.
Is there a motion on the floor?
No, it's just all discussion.
Well, just a point of information, the early voting starts next Friday? This Friday?
15th to the 30th.
And the Clinton area is not at the Fair Building this year, it's at the Clinton Community Center instead of at the fair, because of course the fair is going on, but it will be at the Clinton Community Center this year, starting Friday, 4 days.
Something I had written down here, and by God, I didn't even say it. Just remember, for early voting, if you live in Anderson County, you can go to any of the 3 early voting places. You don't have to go to the one near you. You can go to any of them.
Yeah.
But on the day of the election, you have to go to your precinct. Highly recommend early voting. It's the best way to vote. Thanks.
Where are the 3 locations? Just so everybody knows at home.
Oh, the community center here in Clinton, and then there's that office they have there at Andersonville, and then the Midtown Center in Oak Ridge.
Anderson Crossings,
Yeah.
Yeah, right there at Anderson Crossing.
and then voting day is August 4th.
August the 4th, that's correct.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Early voting, you even get to vote on Saturday mornings, you know.
Next is number 8.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I'll just let Jay take these one at a time if he wants to. Item A, the Norris interlocal agreement for the bike racks for the trail.
Thank you, Commissioner. You've got an intergovernmental agreement between the county and Norris. We got to thank Stephanie Wells for this. What we're going to do is place these bike racks on the trails up in Norris, and they repair bikes. They've got tools attached to them. They got a pump attached to them. I think you've got a copy of this. Stephanie went out and got grants for this, and I just needed it approved, and we'll get Norris's signature and get these things installed as quickly as possible.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
Thank you, sir. The next one I have, the sheriff has taken the step to attempt accreditation for the detention facility. This is a big step. So you've got a motion, a resolution in front of you that does 2 different things. It authorizes the sheriff to start the required process. This is a legal process under Tennessee law to get our detention facility accredited. But one of the first things they ask you to do is start with a mental health program. As you know, Lake Shore and a lot of our regional facilities, Green Valley, here in East Tennessee, they've all closed. Well, what seems to be happening is these people wind up in our county jails. They're not getting the proper treatment, whether it be counseling, medication, or whatever. And we need to stop this problem. So that's one of the first steps we need to work on to get accreditation. And this authorizes the Step Up initiative. And we'll be the 3rd community in the state of Tennessee to pass this, to move forward if this passes County Commission next Monday. And we'll be sharing data with all the other participants in this program. You see everything that we've got to do, but the accreditation process will probably take us 1.5 years or 2 years to get it done. But let me tell you, there's a big benefit to this. Not only will we get the prestigious status of being accredited, but it does do salary reviews, and you know the sheriff has already started on that for our detention facility staff. It promotes higher morale, reduced inmate grievances and lawsuits. I'm all for that. Priority grant status, and get this, they're going to up our board bill over $3 per day for each inmate. You know how much that accounts for as far as revenue. So once we get this accreditation status, instead of getting the $36, we'll be up there right about $40, about $39.60, somewhere in that range, I believe is what Chief Parker told me. So we're excited about that. The sheriff's going to go full bore on this and try to knock it out as quickly as possible. Any questions on the accreditation program or the Stepping Up initiative?
Motion to approve. Second.
Got a motion second, discussion, Commissioner Meade.
Yeah, as much as it upsets me that the state of Tennessee has dropped the mental health part of the state's operations dramatically over the years, I am really glad to see Anderson County and our Sheriff's Department picking up this load, because people that have significant mental health problems that just don't get treated, they may spend their time in jail and spend their time and do their sentence, but then they go back into society with the same problems they went in with. And it used to be that these people went to some of the state facilities and actually got turned around. Now, I'm also real, and there are some people probably ain't gonna get turned around. Okay, that's just, there are some people that are that's just the way they are, and they're just not gonna change. But I've seen a number of people that have gotten into these kind of programs or something similar to this, it have completely changed their life around. They suddenly realized that, gee, life really can be better, and it's not just all hopeless. Because a lot of the problem these people have is when they really think it's hopeless, there's nothing they can do to change their circumstances. If they really believe that, they're not gonna do anything to change their circumstances. They're gonna stay just like they were. So like I said, I still wish the state would, but this is a way the state giving a little extra money to encourage the sheriffs to take this on. But folks, we were taking it on anyhow, so I'm really glad to see the state putting a little bit of money behind it. But it ought to be $10 a day, not $3. Okay, because that would not be enough probably to really do this the way it should be done. But I think we need to step up and make it happen, because it'll make our county better. Thanks.
Yeah, we've been very fortunate. Our sheriff's office has already established a lot of these required partnerships. We've got a great partnership with Ridgeview, also the vocational training with TCAT, the GRE program the school system has put up there, alternatives to incarceration, vocational training, and they've done this, so it's going to be a lot easier for us since we've already got the partnerships in place.
Something I think is important to point out is that the sheriff right now has got a program that's been in place some time, that people go through basically emotional training and conduct training and stuff there. And they also go out and work for various places while they're in jail and get special credit for their time. They actually have a list now of companies that are waiting for people to get out of jail so they can hire them. I mean, this program has gotten a reputation that there are employers out there that want the people that come from this program to come to work for their companies. And trust me, if somebody leaves jail and immediately gets gainful employment, that changes the whole script.
Absolutely. Well, a lot of that's thanks to County Commission for passing all those resolutions in the past, the alternatives, the workhouse, all those. The sheriff will be the first to tell you that it's been a collaborative process that really works. And you're right, there's employers wanting to hire these guys, which is great, but we've got a list of inmates that are qualified that don't have jobs to go to. So we need more people to partner with. And Commissioner Isbell, thank you for your participation in this over the years. You've been wonderful.
Thank you. It's always good to be able to come up with something and see it, come to fruition and it really prosper and there's so
somebody's
many
life turned around.
people. Yeah, yeah, sure has. Any other discussion? Commissioner Wandel.
I don't know if it's appropriate. I'd like to hear Judge-elect's opinion on this, what her thoughts are. I mean, I'm gonna vote for it, but I'd like to hear her opinion.
You're on the spot, you wanna read this?
Well, I know she doesn't have it in front of her, but, I mean, the concept.
I think
Sentence them to it.
Yes, I agree with that concept, and I fully support that. We definitely need programs like this to try to, I like the fact that, you know, we're gonna have an increase also in the amount of money that we're gonna be able to get from the state. That's very good also. But definitely alternatives, and thank you very much to our commission for supporting all the different programs that you have to help get us to this point, and to the sheriff also for all of his support in this aspect.
Thank you.
For the people at home that may not know, Judge-elect Bowling, that's who is speaking at the podium.
Thank you. Sorry I didn't introduce myself.
It's okay.
Oh, you're fine. Thank you.
We
for
all
coming
know who
up.
you are.
Yes, ma'am.
That's all I have for you, sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
Thank you.
Next is new business. Do we have any new business come before this committee? Any old business? Motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.